All right, everybody, welcome back to the lab. I'm your host, Bryce Prescott. To start off this episode, I wanted to thank all of the new listeners that came on the tail end of my last episode, which was my interview with Shania Powell of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We received a lot of great feedback. Her story is quite remarkable, and I'm grateful for the attention that she brought to the show and for her willingness to be a part of that with me. As I stated on that interview, she's one of my clients. I'm working with her to create a show that will focus on mental health and some of the other things that were discussed in that episode. And so if you're a new subscriber or listener to this show because of that, welcome. And I'm excited to kind of dive into some things, and I would as well. I would encourage you to go listen to the back catalog. There's some great stuff about creating your best life, a lot of neuro-linguistic programming, training and hints and ideas, etc., that are a part of this. As this show is called The Lab, it's because life is an experiment and we're trying to figure some things out. I am coming to this episode, admittedly, in a somber mood. I've said this before, I almost didn't record this. Since I started The Lab as a podcast, I haven't missed a week. And this, I know I've said this many times, but this is true. This time was almost the time where I didn't. It's almost like I have too much to say. And I realized that was the very reason I needed to come sit down and to talk. Because I've realized lately that I have this tendency to wait until I understand something before I can talk about it. Like, I need a comprehensive understanding to talk about it. And whether it's I want to understand the lesson first or have that clarity and then share. I want there to be something of meaning that I've arrived at, and then I share that. And right now, I don't have that. I just have my personal experience. And I figured, and as opposed to recording nothing, I will share this and just talk about some things that have been weighing on me. I'm about a month into the separation that I've referenced from my wife. And it's strange to even say that. And it's also strange to be experiencing how grief actually works. I think that things would be a little bit different, actually. I don't know, maybe more emotional, which they are, don't get me wrong, but I guess what I've been experiencing is just it's a lot more quiet than I anticipated. Still have my routine. I get up, I go to the gym, I answer emails and record podcast episodes and manage my team and build my business and laugh at stupid videos and share memes with my friends and all that. But every now and then randomly, something will just catch me off guard, whether it's a song or a smell or some moment or whatever. And it hits me that my life has changed. It's very different than it was even just a short time ago. I think that's what's been the hardest part for me is not just even the separation itself, but it's realizing that my old life was ending far before I consciously was willing to admit it. I can see that now as I look back, that there was the death of so many parts of me and parts of that relationship that had been gone a long time. And I guess I just didn't want to admit it. And now that I'm able to admit it, it's kind of a weird feeling. I mean, I knew something was off for a long time because I was feeling lonely. For years, I was having conversations about needs that weren't being met, my needs that weren't being met, her needs that weren't being met. There was emotional distance. There was physical distance. There was conversations we kept having over and over again with no real resolution. And Nothing was changing, but I didn't ever really want to see that was heading somewhere. Like, I guess I kind of subconsciously knew. I thought life would just kind of keep going on the same way. And that's hard to explain. I get it, but I knew that it was ending, but I didn't know that it was ending, if that makes sense. And now I'm living the death of it, like the death of my old life. Here in my new place, I come home, it's quiet. And sometimes that quiet feels peaceful, and sometimes it just is brutal. It's lonely and it's isolating, and it's because I miss more than just a person. I miss having a witness to me, to my life, to what I'm doing. Having somebody there. I miss familiarity. I miss being touched, just randomly being touched. And there's this unconscious rhythm that is there when you share life with somebody that's completely gone. And I think what's been difficult is realizing how many parts of my identity was attached to that structure of being a partner, a person. And now that structure is gone, it's disappeared, and I'm trying to build another one, it's exposing to me parts of myself that I can't hide from. Like, they're there. I have to address them. There's no distraction. I could drink them away, smoke them away, all the other distractions, but they're not going anywhere until I address them. And that's very sobering. I've also realized lately how much fear exists in this transition between my old life and this new one that I don't have yet. And it's not just sadness. It's like actual fear, like real, tangible, like in my nervous system fear. I've thought a lot about this, and I don't give in to these fears, but I think that it's important that I share with you specifically. Like, I've had a fear that it's too late for me to reinvent myself. I've had a fear, a very real fear, that I don't have the emotional energy to build another life. That I spent it all in that one and it didn't work. And a real fear that maybe I'm actually not equipped for the future that I say that I want. And those thoughts are really loud at night. During the day, I can get momentum. I can get caught up in my routines. I can work. I can create. I can envision things. I can manage things. And then nighttime, it's all gone. It's stripped away. There's no distraction anymore at night when it's just me laying in a bed by myself. And all that I feel is grief for so much that I've lost. I've also noticed something else in myself that's really uncomfortable to acknowledge and to watch, is that I can feel myself building walls in real time against being vulnerable with anybody again. It's the definition of irony, because part of me craves connection even more than I ever have right now. I want to be seen and felt and heard by another person. I want to see and feel and hear someone else in a place of true connection. And there's part of me that's terrified of feeling misunderstood or overlooked or minimized. That's really difficult for me to admit, because I am the type of person, when I love deeply and fully, and I care deeply. I go all in, and I did in my relationships throughout my life. Every person I've loved deeply. I've cared deeply. I tried. I put effort into making it work, and still somehow I've ended up feeling emotionally alone inside of my own relationship. And I have to be real, that has done something to me. It makes me understand how people slowly can become guarded. It makes me understand attachment styles differently, how you can become an avoidant person by just not wanting to allow there to be any closeness or connection because you've been burned so badly before. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's very slow. It starts with small disappointments that compound, misunderstanding and disrespect that's small but subtle, but yet it's compounded over time. It's resentment that doesn't get healed or released. It's that feeling of loneliness that just persists in a crowded room. Even though I'm sharing the challenges and the grief of the moment, at least it's easier being alone while being by myself than feeling alone in a crowded home. One of the parts of this season I've been trying to reconcile, that's been the most difficult, I believe, is reconciling my public role with my private experience. As a coach, as an entrepreneur, as a consultant, as a podcaster, I help people. I run the lab. I position myself as a leader to help others navigate their life, to present to them ideas and principles and things to help them. I speak about alignment and truth and how it all stems from your identity and how you have to be the author of your life. These are all tenets of what I share and the things that are important to me. And there are moments lately, especially, where I genuinely question myself, not because I think I'm a fraud. I don't. I think I'm well equipped in that way, but because my life feels unfinished. It's messy right now. It's so unresolved. And part of me believed leadership meant arriving somewhere emotionally stable before you could speak to someone about it. And that's just not where I'm at. And it's forcing me to look at things differently. I don't think that's true anymore. I think maybe leadership is just the willingness to tell the truth while still being inside of the experience. That at least feels honest. I think what's really happening to me right now is that it's just a complete overhaul of all of these layered identities that I built as a husband and father and entrepreneur and part of this old system that is changed. It's the grief that's been stripping it away. That love that just has no place to go right now, but it's still there. Love for myself, love for others, love for versions of myself, parts of me that I've had to let go of that I liked. And it includes other things too. It includes things that I was certain about, assumptions I would make, things that I thought were permanent that aren't permanent. I don't think I realized how attached I was to certain versions of my future that I thought were going to happen until they're gone now. That vision, that idea of what was going to be my life, it's foggy and hazy. It's disappeared, and it's heavy to just sit in that reality because I don't fully know what comes next yet. I know what I want, in theory, to be loved and respected and to have a vital vitality in my body. I want to feel connection and have purpose, and I want a beautiful life. I want love. I want peace. But there is a difference between wanting those things and then on an emotional level, believing that I can actually hold them if I was to receive them. And that's where I think I actually am right now. Not hopeless, but just a little untethered. I think that's maybe the strangest part of this transition is that I don't fully belong in my old life anymore. But I don't recognize yet this new one either. I'm just kind of standing in between in this middle space where it's emotionally homeless. I don't have a home to go home to right now. other than myself. And it's lonely. I don't think people talk honestly enough about that part. Everybody talks about the comeback and about the phoenix rising from the ashes, but nobody talks about the emotional homelessness that's in the middle. The nights where it's just crashing down, everything feels uncertain. The moments where, quite literally in the same breath, I can feel ambition and excitement and grief and sadness. And the confusion of, again, simultaneously experiencing opposing emotions, feeling relieved, thankful, and devastated and sad. That's real. And that's where I actually am. A part of why I almost didn't record this is because there's no lesson here. There's no cleanliness to me to wrap up in this bow under a framework of what, why, lesson apply, or state the problem, make it worse, call to action. I don't have that for this. I'm just sharing my experience inside of it. I don't have some big triumphant ending to this. Here's the answer. I wanted to be honest and open about what's actually happening to me and what this season is actually feeling like. You know, one of the temptations that I've given into in the past is I try to make meaning out of things too quickly. If I'm experiencing pain or grief or discomfort or disappointment, I want to attach it to something instead of just letting it sit. I've learned that some experiences aren't meant to be wisdom immediately. They're a piece of a more broad learning that will have wisdom. And I don't need to force it. But what I do know is this. My old life is gone. I can feel it. Even today, I had a conversation with my spouse, my former spouse. I don't know what to call her. We're not legally divorced yet, but we're not together. I don't know. We had a conversation and it turned to a place where it showed the glaring difference in how we see each other and how we see relationship and life. So even though I know that old life is gone, I can also say my new life isn't here yet. And it's emotionally disorienting to be between these two places. Because I don't know when it changes. I don't know when my new life gets here. And maybe this is my new life. I just don't want to admit it. I don't know. But it's real. At least tonight, as I recorded this episode, I wanted to not pretend and just be raw and state the reality of this emotional moment for me, of living in this place where I'm no longer there, but I'm not here yet either. You know, underneath all of this, though, I have to say this. I have to have there be a glimmer of hope here. Because underneath the grief and the loneliness and the uncertainty and the fear, there is something else there too. And this is what makes those opposing emotions come, where I feel excited and thankful in the midst of grief and sadness. It's that I have not lost my faith. I'm not certain or confident in every second of the day, but I have faith still. This is not the end of my story. Faith that maybe this season is stripping away the parts of my life that have to go. They don't fit anymore. Like the metaphor of a lobster that sheds its shell. That its old shell became tight and it couldn't grow until it shed that shell. Faith that maybe there still is this massive, beautiful, connected life on the other side of this, where all of the things that I've dreamed of and desired for my life, connection and passion and chemistry and success and abundance and wealth and relevance and achievement, and that it's all there. I have faith, even if I can't see it, even if I have zero clue right now how it's going to show up. I don't have the full picture other than what I've tried to visualize. I don't know any of the how, or most of it, I should say. And I guess that's really what faith actually is. It's just continuing to walk anyway. You know, and maybe there's some of you listening to this that are in your own version of this too, where you're in the space between, where your life feels untethered like mine. Maybe something ended for you, whether it's a relationship or something else, and maybe something is ending for you. Maybe you're carrying grief that you just haven't fully admitted out loud yet. If that's you, I want you to know that you're for sure less alone than you think you are. I know how isolating this transition can feel, and how the quiet can be suffocating at night. I know what it feels like to stare at the ceiling, wondering who you're becoming, wondering how long you're going to be sleeping alone, or if this is just the rest of your life now. And maybe nobody actually knows any of that anyway, and that's okay. But for me and for you, I want to say this. What makes it all enough, what makes it all worthwhile, is if you can come to the place of just telling the truth to yourself about it. Where you keep getting up every morning, being thankful you're alive, recognizing the gift that this life is. And if you do that enough days in a row, your new chapter actually begins, your new life shows up, things work out, and you can look back with a heart full. That's where I'm at tonight. My friends, thanks for listening tonight, or today, or whenever you're listening to this. This is The Lab, and I am your host, Bryce Prescott. And like I always say, until next time, take it a day at a time. I'll see you.